Do not let this great country become the United Kingdom. Do not allow America to fall as Europe has fallen. Look at us. Let us be a warning. Be better than us. I've watched my country fall apart, and I want to warn others before they let their country do the same. And believe me, I love my country. The UK today is a place few of us recognise. I get letters and emails, really upsetting ones, from 60 and 70-year-olds struggling to make sense of the country they love. Like my mum and dad, they ask me, has the world gone mad? How is this all going to end up? Where does this stop? Some of them email me to say that they're glad they're old because they will be gone soon. And they won't have to wait for the time they see their country fall. These are hard messages to read, and they're really hard messages to respond to. And believe me, I am wary of painting too depressing a picture. I have not come here to be part of the fear. I have not come here to talk my country down or to fail to see the good in Britain. But there are some blunt truths I believe it is my duty to tell. You are more likely to be raped in London than in New York. You are more likely to be attacked with acid from a guy on a moped in East London than in Islamabad. And when it comes to terror, the head of the UK MI5 said the risk is now impossible to contain or to control. Serving police officers in Muslim-controlled areas of the UK email me and allege that the local imam at the mosque is in charge of selecting the police officers he will allow to police his neighbourhood. A boy I know wrote to me, he's learning to use his legs again after they were blown apart at the Manchester attack. He does not carry on as normal. Others seem to carry on as normal because what's the alternative? What, hiding in your home? Is that defeat? It's not normal to build walls on bridges of rings of steel around Christmas markets. If this is terror losing, I would hate to see terror win. Enough of the candle lights, enough of your hashtags, enough of your heart-shaped gestures at the sky, enough of turning the Eiffel Tower lights on and off. I'm epileptic. Flashing lights don't do me any favour whatsoever. I spent 48 hours in the migrant camp at Calais in France. It's called the jungle, quite appropriate, it seems to me, where African migrants masquerading as children and asylum seekers fought their way through tear gas and steel fencing to break into the trucks crossing over from France to Dover to sneak into the UK. My photographer was lynched, his camera was stolen, his wallet taken, he was beaten up, and he went home because he was badly beaten, actually. I had my arm dislocated. They came for us with steel bars. We were put in the back of a van and taken out of the camp to safety. I went back in the next day. I was told to cover up by the charity workers there, the do-gooders, the Democrats, those types, you know. They told me to cover up my shoulders because it was offensive to the Muslim men. So I stripped off. They didn't like my tiny tits much better either. I met a lady with a little boy, and I was trying to find this quieter story, you know, real women, real problems. And her little boy, it was the first child I'd seen in camp, and she invited me into her little caravan thing. And it turned out her little boy was in fact a little girl, except she dressed him as a boy so that at night the migrant men wouldn't come and try and steal him from her. And I learned a big lesson as well. I was naive. Migrants don't come for a new life and leave their old life behind. They bring them with them. All the old conflicts from back home. The Eritreans hate the Somalis, who hate the Afghanis, who don't speak to the Libyans, and they're still fighting. They come, they do not start a new life, they bring the conflicts from back home. And I met the head of the toughest fire station in Sweden, who was exceptionally good looking. I'm just going to say that. But once I'd moved over on that point, he was now building a bigger fence around the station to stop migrants vandalising the engine, the fire engines, and to stop them coming in and stealing the cutting equipment, which they like to steal. I asked him whether walls like this were our future, and he looked at me really strangely. He was surprised. He said, "No, it's too late for that. We no longer build walls to keep people out. Going forward, we will build walls to keep the people that we love in." And that, it still gives me the shivers now actually, and these are my truths. These come straight from the mouths of men and women who live this stuff every day. No filter, no lens, no censorship, no Google ranking, no New York Times.